So this particular episode is one that is very, very dear to my heart. It's somewhat personal as well. So I'm very, very sure that we are going to have an amazing time today. So we're 2 minutes past. Please introduce our speaker now. So it's going to be like an interactive session, and feel free to chip in either in the comment box or raise up your virtual hand so that you can participate in the conversation. So I will quickly introduce our speaker now, and I'll start by reading this. It's very, very short, a very, very summarized bio. So I'm going to quickly read the very short bio now. So Michael Paul, popularly known as MP, is a final year medical student who is well versed in the essay writing craft with over 15 national writing awards. He's also a strong chess player and a games master who has organized and co-organized multiple indoor games events, including the recent UCH, that is University College Hospital, Ibadan Chess VG. In the UI chess community, he triples as the UI Chess Vice Captain 1, UI Tournament Director, and the ABH Chess Coordinator. Other key leadership roles he currently holds are below: the Speaker of Alexander Brown Hall Assembly, 2025 Millennium Fellowship Campus Director, College of Medicine UI, General Secretary Publicity Director, Action Group on Adolescent Health Ibadan, Lead Design Team Member, Better Africa. So, ladies and gentlemen, kindly welcome our guest for today with all the emojis your fingers can find. Just keep tapping away, keep tapping away. Thank you very much, Philip. I see you. Tumisha, I see you. Thank you very much. All right. So, yeah. Over to you, Michael Paul. How are you doing today?
Good evening, Master Williams. I don't know, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can also see you.
I don't know if you can hear me. Good evening. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible. Good afternoon.
Okay, yeah. So thank you very much for this great opportunity. Thank you to writing over, and I am feeling good today. I'm feeling nervous, but I'm feeling good.
All right, that's good to know. That's good to know. All right. So where do we start from? So this is going to be very interactive, as I've said, and I guess in certain climes, you would have seen some questions that we are going to discuss today, and that is to Paul. But this is how we are doing it. We're just going unfiltered, raw, and undiluted. So my very first question, right? So let's start from the very basics. Do you see yourself as a multi-talented person? And perhaps you might want to, if you agree or you disagree, your definition or your understanding of who like a multi-talented person is.
Okay, yeah, I do see myself as a multi-talented person, but I won't say that I got those talents naturally. I don't like using the term that is naturally good at something, because most of the fields I have delved in currently, or I am currently deep in, are things I picked up in university. So before university, I was this academic guy who always used to go for competitions, mathematics, science, and all those stuff. But in university, even though I still try to do my best academically, I have been more intentional about growing other aspects of my life. For instance, the social and leadership and things like that. So I would say yes, I see myself as someone who's multi-talented, because in different fields and extracurriculars, I have delved into them and excelled in them. But I see it more as intentional growth in those areas. That's developing the skill to do well in those areas rather than just having it naturally or inherently.
Sorry, my mic was muted. So I think you sort of broached somewhat odd conversation there. So when we say talent, is it limited to the things that you get naturally, or there are things that you have to hone, you have to practice, you have to, you know, what's really the difference, in the things that you're good at, when you put them side by side, the ones that comes to you naturally and the ones that you have to somewhat also to get good at. Are you there, Paul? I don't know if you got my question.
Okay, okay, I got your question. So yeah, there's this. Most people see talent as something innate. Like, okay, this person is just naturally good at this. But is there? I think the conversation is more of this person is naturally good at this set of skills that he develops it into like a talent. Those some people have it the other way around. But for instance, like let me give my favorite footballer of all time, Messi. Said he's a talented footballer, but what exactly was he born with? Was he born naturally with the ability to play football? Or if Messi was born in, let's say, the 4th century, would you say his talent is playing football? So I don't necessarily see that he was, let's say, born with the ability to play football, but probably he was born with some, let's say, some genes or some things that just made him drawn towards football or made him see things differently. Maybe his reaction time, his the way he processes things is different, but those things help him excel in football. You get, so I think that if he uses those set of skills in something else, for example, that requires quick decision making and team play, coordination, and things like that, he would also excel in those aspects. So I don't necessarily see that Messi was born to be a footballer. Yes, he set his specific skill sets or his specific natural ability fits very well in football. So maybe, okay, for instance, I know that academically I've always been a good student, and naturally I know that there are people who maybe put in more work than I do at certain instances, and I get more results in a way, probably because I retain some things, some information maybe better, or my natural way of reading or of retaining information is suitable for me or things like that. But I wouldn't now say that attention retaining skill I have in football naturally makes me talented at chess. Yes, it might help me because chess is a game of puzzles, pattern recognition, spatial awareness, and things like that that I'm already probably good at. But to be where I am currently, I had to put in a whole lot of effort, deliberate effort to get better at those things. And it applies, it cuts across the various things I'm currently doing. Like when I look back at myself starting university and I look at myself now, there are many things I have grown at that I probably was I probably could do them before, or I probably would have done them well before, but because I never started them, I never, should I say, put mind in those areas. I wasn't good at them. So yes, there could be that aspect of there are certain innate abilities at some areas, but most of it I would like to attribute it to intentional efforts.
All right. I really love your perspective. So you're basically saying that what we usually call someone being talented is something is basically contextual and applying their natural gifts, right? All right, all right.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. All right. So now you mentioned that when you got into school, that's University of Ibadan, that is when the urge, the motivation to start exploring extracurriculars, that's when it started, it came up.
Okay, I don't know if I got you. Was that a question?
All right, sorry guys, my network logged me off for a moment there. So I hope you guys can hear me now.
Yeah, you can
All
hear.
right, very, very sorry about that. So what was I even asking? So yeah, I was asking what led to the choice to start exploring outside of extracurricular. Was it the feeling that, oh, I've conquered this space? Because I mean, I won't lie, when I came into UI, there was a little of bubble burst because what me trying to get into UI, it was from a place of trying to put myself in the best place where I can actually learn in the country. So I know it can't at that time, I know that I can't possibly get better than UI, right? If I go to like other places, say OAU or Unilag, it's probably going to be the same. It cannot realistically and substantially get better than UI when I came into UI, right? Because UI have been like the best in the country for like a couple of years during that period. So it's sort of like when I came inside, yeah, and I saw the way the system is, I saw that it's not as smooth, it's not as coordinated, as organized as I had expected. So I think it was part of the things that motivated me that, oh, I think I need more, right? To start exploring. So I wonder what is your own story? How where did that urge really come from?
Oh, okay. So for me, the truth that it found, like basically in 100 level, I had so much time on my hands. Like, and we always used to be told by seniors that okay, 100 level take use your 100 level very well because in 200 level you don't have time at all. Then we enter 200 level, they tell us that use your 200 level very well because in 300 level you don't have time at all. And it keep going like that. They keep telling that use this time, we use this time. So basically in 100 level I had so much time on my hands. And regrettably, I was a chronic staff at 100 level. So I think Mr. William knows that very well. So, but like for instance, how I just came across rapping. I had my older brother was the one who introduced me to rapping, and I had Williams was saying it. We were in C2, like C first floor, room 2. Yeah, so I had a friend, also a medical student in 100 level. He was staying in C1, so he always used to come to my room. And this guy was a Kendrick Lamar stan. Like he nearly killed me with Kendrick Lamar. He force fed Kendrick Lamar down my throat. So whenever like there was one because I hear rap, I used to hear rap a lot, and I myself used to enjoy rap. After a test, that was a GAS 101 test. Due to the reaction around it, I just decided to make a funny rap skit around it, and it blew up. People were DMing me, saying, "Wow, they never knew I rapped," and I didn't used to rap. I just made it out of fun, like out of I was just joking around. But it got really popular on school. I know there was this guy. What was his name now? I can't remember, but he was a PRO of Indie by then. He was a PRO of Independence Hall by then. He shared it, and like because it blew up, people started telling me that I should consider taking it seriously. And then the whole COVID-19 happened. And me that came into university to learn, we were away for like 10 months. So it's like, what am I doing with my life for these 10 months break? That's when I started trying to take it seriously. And surprisingly, it wasn't that difficult. And I feel like that's something that I've gotten to learn. Like some of the ventures or endeavors I would see that look potentially scary that I could probably try this out, but I'm too afraid I would take so much of my time. I'm too afraid that I might not get good at it. There's no real harm in trying. Sometimes your introduction to it might not necessarily be formal, but if you have the opportunity, you can pursue it actively and you discover that it's not that hard. I've had classmates. I remember when I was in 200 level second semester, that was when one of my classmates was just learning programming, and he was even learning it on his phone, on a mobile phone. He was learning the theory, hoping that whenever he gets access to a laptop, he practices it. And recently, just last month, this guy has already secured a 50 million grant from the government. So when you look back at where this guy started from and you look at him now, you wonder that so that means something as seemingly complex as programming, the tech world that everyone says is saturated and everything like that. Someone can actually break into it with consistency and reap great rewards. And I've seen it across fields. My introduction into chess, I learned chess even the wrong way. Like if you know much about chess, I learned chess by just playing around with my friends in secondary school. And it was until I got into university, or not until I got into university, that I realized that we're actually playing it using the wrong rules. So I had to relearn it. But I've been able, because of consistency and dedication, I've just been able to rise up the ranks in it. So most of what I'm just trying to say in essence is that your introduction, or my introduction to into some of these fields, were not exactly formal. We're not exactly like, I want to learn this thing because of the benefits. It was just that I realized that I had an affinity for it, and maybe one or two people advised me that I should pursue it further. And when I actually was laser focused on learning it, and which is the most difficult part actually, because it's different. There's a different thing of doing something for leisure and then taking it seriously, possibly as a money making opportunity. So when I focused on that, I surprisingly reaped good rewards from it, and that gave me the confidence to expand. That, okay, there are these other aspects of my life that I've just been living shallow or fallow. Let me try it out. Okay, let me be more intentional about applying for opportunities here and there. Let me be more intentional about putting myself out there. And the more I did that, the more I realized that even with the failures, or and with the close calls, I started gaining more and more confidence in these opportunities and actively get better at these things. So that was how I was just able to grow different aspects of my life together or concurrently. So yeah, that was the experience for me.
All right. Thank you very much for that. Although I think a lot of people would find it weird where you said you had a lot of time on your ends in 100 level in UI. I mean, a lot of people wonder how that is, but I mean, I guess that is largely due to the background that you were coming from. So every one of us, we have different background and the things that we have to do to get into UI. So moving on now, um, looking at the things that you've done, right? Because I feel one of the major problem that people with multiple interests or multiple talent do have is how to connect everything. So when you started like exploring all of these things, so because as I had mentioned, I think the first stint I saw you going to was rapping, and then during the COVID, then Dr. MP was a thing, and share lines and bars with us in the room, and we look at it and we give feedback. Then COVID happened, and then it was majorly like online thing, the online contest, the Instagram contest, and all of that. Then gradually, I saw the MP that is into essays, right? Um, one of the ones being the Jamila Abubakar Memorial Essay Competition that is usually organized by a Pseudo Foundation. So that is like a foundation that I work with. So I saw him come up on the stage as the overall winner, right? If my memory serves me right. So I was like, oh, and then I mean, rapping, you have to write too, but I never knew that okay, there's this side to it. So that sort of like makes sense from like rapping to writing. Now, but now there's chess, which I feel like uses a different skill set. And then there's now leadership, which I also feel like there's a whole different skill set like attached to that. And perhaps there are even other sides of it that you've explored at some point that I'm not even aware of. So when you were pursuing these things, were you chasing after them because you could see the connection, among all of these things, or there were things that you just felt like, oh, well, this looks cool. This will be my next side quest or something. Oh, okay, let me give this one a shot and see what it's going to look like. Did you get my question, Paul?
Okay, yeah, I got your question, but if in my answer, I deviate a bit, I don't answer it correctly, you could maybe come again. But I got your question, I think. So No, not exactly. I wasn't pursuing essay writing or and rapping because I felt like they were connected. I just for okay, let me narrow down on essay writing. So I started writing essays around the same time I started rapping actually. The only difference is I wasn't successful in essay writing then. So I found more success in rapping. That's in the 100 level, 200 level, even entering 300 level. So what I did was I focused more on the rapping aspects because it was actually bringing me a lot of funds. Like, in fact, ah, it was so crazy that I had to deliberately stop it because number one, I felt like I had done it for a while. That it was either I upscale in it, that's get equipment, refine my entire sound, shoot good quality videos, like take it very, very seriously instead of just going for contests here and there, winning this here and there, because it takes a lot of time. So I that was when I just took a seat back because also the primary assignment in school is academics. So didn't want anything to tamper with that or to take me so far away from academics. So that was why I paused it a bit. But then that was when I looked around and I was like, I used to write before. And while I ventured into writing, there was this undergraduate essays group that I joined. I had joined then. So I wasn't an active member, but I was always learning from winners, that's past winning entries and things like that. So when I left essay writing, probably I'm sorry, when I left rapping, probably maybe subconsciously, I the natural thing to fall back on was essay writing because it's hard to deal with writing, and I was looking for that channel of expression. But I didn't consciously pick back essay writing that okay, this is similar to rapping. I just picked it back that okay, I have seen good success in this aspect. This is another aspect that is actually promising because it shows that money is also a big factor in these days. I mean, as students trying to sort for yourself on campus, even though yeah, parents can take care of fees and everything, sometimes the lifestyle or the upkeep, let's say like that, can be very, very, very tricky. So you're always looking for legitimate means to survive and not just to survive but to stay buoyant. So essay writing was something I looked. You see, someone has won an essay, cash price 300K in one sitting. People can win 3 or 4 essays in a year. Well, you are constantly applying for scholarship. A scholarship is giving you 100K per year, 150K per year, and they are telling you that if on another scholarship you cannot apply for this one, and you are wondering that what will 200K a year do? It cannot even cover my entire fees and everything. So that was when I went and took up essay writing, but more seriously. So and that's I feel like there are a number of people who are into essay writing or are into these different ventures. That the problem is that, for instance, like me, it took like 3 good years before I started winning essays. But when I actually discovered the hack, I saw that it's not that difficult to win an essay. It just takes how badly do you want to win it, because you have to go into it with the mindset, and everything I go into it with the mindset that I am not the best at this thing I know. In my household, I'm not the best in writing. Like in my immediate family, I know better writers than me. So I know that if I ever want to win an essay contest, I am going to do a crazy amount of research. I'm going to spend a lot of time thinking about the topic, and I'm going to try to think of a crazy angle that is not generic, that most judges won't expect. And I try to have a very, very good introduction, a very, very good conclusion. So I just try to be as strategic as possible. And again, initially, when I entered into essay writing, my goal was okay, write as many essays as possible because it will improve my skill. The best way to learn how to write is to constantly write. But the more I kept writing and getting better, I started shifting from quantity to quality. So now I only write essays when I, number one, I don't want to write any deadline work. I want to, and I give myself set deadlines. Okay, I'm going to brainstorm on the topic for just 1 day or 2 days. I'm going to write the finished draft by this time. I'm going to send it to these different people for review. And after that, I'm going to submit it at least 3 days before the deadline. So giving myself those strict guidelines and trying to avoid procrastination is something that helped me in that aspect, especially writing now. So not necessarily, that's to answer your question. For instance, chess, like I also said, I just how I became a based chess coordinator. It was not even like an official um, award or something like that. So it was when I crossed over to ABH and I realized that the state of chess in ABH was not as vibrant as it used to be. And I just stepped in there now because I was a chess player and I enjoyed the game. I just stepped in there and did a few reforms, and everything just happened organically in that aspect. From there, I started organizing chess tournaments. We did the hall. We started doing cage matches because chess is a competitive game. It's rules or competition and friendly banter. So I just started inculcating that, and it just happened naturally that whenever there's a chess event, maybe in ABH or in UI, I am involved because they naturally saw that I picked interest in it and I was someone who could be trusted in those areas. So most of the things happen naturally. The only thing I would say for leadership is a different thing now because I never, like from my primary school to secondary school, I was never one to hold leadership positions. Even in 100 level, I was someone who was always not interested in those things. But over time, things happen and I found myself here. So I don't know if that answer suffices or if there are specific parts you want me to narrow down on, and I'll be happy to do that.
All right, I think we can make do with that, especially looking at our time. And yeah, I feel like it all makes sense too, because when you're going about these things, they only make sense when you now start to look back, in retrospect and say, oh, this was actually some of the things that led to this and all of that. So yeah, I think your response suffices. So, and I should say, perhaps one of these days we'll like to have you over again, and maybe you share with us some tips on essay writing and how to win. Um, because from your profile, saw that you've won like up to like 15, and I think that's really commendable. So, but I think I would also like to take a very short detour to say to at this point that if we've got anyone who has a question, either for Paul or for the general house, I think it would be nice if you can just take a short break to take those right now, if there are any. Anyone with a question, perhaps something we've touched on and you feel you need some clarification about. All right, so I'll take it that there's none. So, going forward now, so my question is that, do you think that being a multi-talented person can be a sort of setback in itself, or how we've been framing it around the publicity of these events is a sort of curse, in that it's also a blessing as well?
Yeah, I actually think it can be a very big setback. Reason being, at some certain instances, you have, for instance, currently there are a number of chess tournaments like beginning of the next month. That's basically next week and upper week that are I want to participate in or I have to participate in. There are essay writing contests. There is school. There is my leadership. This is like the peak of it because I'm handing over next week Saturday. That's in the ABH assembly. So there are a lot of things that demand your attention at the same time. And sometimes it's not very easy to actually delegate and say, okay, I'm going to leave this for now. This one is more important. Because if you are multi-talented, if you cannot manage your time very well, you will find out that at every point in time or at every phase, one aspect has to suffer for the others. And that's something that's not very easy to delineate that, okay, at this point in time, let me stop this for now and let me focus more on this. And that's something maybe I'm sidetracking now, but I was always fascinated with this and the global Peter Drucker essay. I'm reading him. Last year the topic was about the second curve. That is knowing how to, how will I say it, knowing how to shunt or knowing how to tangent away from something that is currently succeeding because you envision that there's something better ahead or that the particular thing you are doing right now is not sustainable in the long run. So that is there and you must really know how to do it. I figured it out sometimes through trial and error, but the best thing and what has worked best for me is having a clear timetable. Like, okay, this month there are 7 essay competitions available. I want to write 2 or I want to write 3. And I pick the ones that work best. That's the most feasible ones. That's looking at the deadline, the word counts, how I resonate with the topic, my current academic schedule, and then I table that. And then, okay, for this organization, we have this number of outreaches. Okay, this one is clashing today, this one is clashing. So I just try to pick. And the best time to do that is at the beginning of every month. You And obviously there are unforeseen circumstances that come, but if you try as much as possible to plan around to know that, okay, in this period, this is a very very tough period or tough month for me, I'm going to pause this for now. I'm going to focus more on this because this demands more attention. That works better, although it is actually hard to do. You must be deliberate. If not, you will just be freestyling everything or just be going with emotion and you might not really achieve anything much. Like I said, when I started writing, I was more focused on quantity. Okay, I want to write 10 essays. I want to write 7 essays this month. But writing so many essays doesn't necessarily translate to winning everyone. I might discover that in 3 months you have written 15 essays, and at the end of the day, you want 0. That will do more damage to you than narrowing down and saying, okay, I want to put enough effort into writing 5 stellar essays that, because even me, there are many times I've written essays. In all my wins, I have lost a lot of times. Like the number of losses I've had are actually devastating. But there's that consolation I give myself that, okay, I was able to plan well and I was able to put in efforts, required effort for this competition. If I do not put in required effort for a particular competition, I cannot necessarily know how good I am, because I will always give myself the false hope that, okay, I wasn't shortlisted, but it's because I didn't write it well or because I wrote it towards the deadline. That means if I wrote it early enough, I would have been shortlisted, which is not necessarily true. So you have to measure growth or to measure progress in the different areas and to be able to balance your time well, because in the day we only have 24 hours, and considering how many hours you used to sleep and you go to school, you actually have very, very little time to yourself to actually be intentional about different aspects of your life. So, as a multi talented person, you might struggle with, okay, at this point in time, what should I do? What should I focus on? But the decision is at the end of the day up to you to know that, okay, this is more important at this moment. Maybe there are some pointers, obviously, that you could use to distinguish what is more important or what is more pressing and at a particular point in time. But I would say that if you have enough time at hand, you should build each aspect of your life together. You should grow them together. And that's why I'm more open these days to taking multiple, maybe leadership roles. But again, there are some I have had to turn down intentionally, because if you take too many leadership roles, you end up not being functional in any one of them. And then you have a bad rep at the end of the day, which has happened to me a few times. So the truth is being more intentional about what you actually want to do. Yes, you have a lot of things you want to do. Now, to end it, I'm just going to start and stop it today on Okoya. Now, there's this whole popular narrative that it almost seems like he was hopeless, or without chess, he wouldn't have blown up. But think about the ridiculousness of what he did. this is a guy that used something that, first of all, is unusual. He used chess, and he was able to use chess to drive such a radical change. And this is not like I taught 10,000 students, or let me just use that. This is not I did this, or I at one point in time I was able to give a talk to 15 students or 100 students or 1,000 students. This is I was directly responsible for the radical transformation of the lives of hundreds and thousands of people who would have, at this point in time, would have been thrown out in society. And what he did is he used chess. Now, thinking about it is ridiculous because this guy dedicated nearly 10 years or over 10 years of his life to do what any normal person would have thought as useless. A random person will see him as wasting his life. Like, basically, chess is not something that is that profitable in Nigeria. And if it is profitable currently in a way, it's largely because of the efforts he put in. So the truth is that sometimes your doggedness in a particular area, or you laser focusing on a particular area, might seem to every other person as stupidity. So I don't, so like, okay, I think I've spent a lot of time with that, but basically that's what I was trying to say. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Unfortunately, your audio was breaking so bad at my end. I hope it's different for the others that are on the call. So but I was able to pick, bits and pieces here and there. I think the bottom line is the fact that you have to prioritize, right, and know what is most pressing. But sometimes that is not as easy as it seems, right? So I'm going to ask you, using a personal example, right now, what are the things that you feel like, what are the things that you do? What are the order you've given them, and why you've given that? I hope you heard everything I said. I think my network glitched again there.
Yeah. Can you hear me now? Is it better?
Oh, did you hear what I said?
Yes. Can you hear me now? Is the audio better?
I'm really struggling to hear you.
No. Can you hear me now? Yes. Is my audio better now?
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right,
I don't know.
thank
Can you
you.
hear
Sorry,
me?
that was my next. Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Oh, okay. So I heard your
So,
question.
oh, awesome, awesome. All right, thank you.
Okay. Okay. So a practical example. Currently, what I prioritize the most is the leadership role I hold, or the leadership roles I hold, or most importantly, the A-based speakership role, because it is directly affecting brown knights. Or first of all, I'm a floor rep, and as a speaker, I'm the head of the floor reps. So it's directly affecting my immediate community. So I prioritize that most because I know to be found wanting in that aspect. I'm not just not wanting to be found wanting. I want to excel in that aspect. So that's what I prioritize most. And after that, and I'm focusing on extracurriculars now, not really talking about academics. After that, I have this year chess, for the better part of this year chess, because we had major chess projects. in the whole. Now that's why I said it depends on the time. We had a chess vigil, a UCH chess vigil, and an ABH chess league, which is the first of its kind. So I had to prioritize those. Currently, we have a UMSA chess league also that is coming up, and I'm still the one anchoring it. So these three were major projects. So I had to prioritize chess. So not much of essay writing this year. But this month, after we're done with all the major chess events, I went back to essay writing. And so that's now in this phase, I am prioritizing essays because number one, essay is a very good source of income. And number two, it improves my writing skills. Like it helps me keep writing. And the research in essay, when I'm writing about a particular essay, the research helps me. It broadens my knowledge of the world. So that's something that I have always since I delved into it and since I started reaping good success, I have always wanted to continue at it. I just paused it because of major projects. And like I said, I'm handing over the speakership role next week, Saturday. So by then I am going to, shall I say, free myself from that responsibility and I'll give more time to chess. Like I said, for rap, it's not that I don't write raps again. I still do from time to time. Even last year, I participated in a rap tournament and I came second in Nigeria. But I prioritize rap. That's I'm very selective with the rap contest I enter for and the quality of entries I send because it's something I do not want to just send in a rap entry for the sake of sending in. Yes, I can still write, sharpen my pen, and do everything. But if I am producing any output, I want it to be the best quality possible at that moment in time. And I do not feel like it's something I can do within the school environment because you are disturbing other people in the hall with noise and every other thing. So that's why I have paused it. So that's the order currently. Leadership, chess for a while, but currently essays and rap last.
Mhm. So where does your academics come in all of this? Because I was expecting that on the list.
Okay. Yeah, like when I started initially, I said that this putting academics aside. So academics is number one. It is number one. But then again, if I were just solely focused on academics, I would give it more attention than I'm currently giving it now. The truth is that if you want to excel in some other aspects, you might have to, in a way, if I was reading 6 hours every day and I want to improve in writing, I might have to cut down one of those hours and dedicate it to writing or two of those hours. So I am still focused on academics and finishing the best possible way as possible or with the best possible results. But then again, I want to deliberately better myself in these other aspects. So academics is number one. Please be dedicated with your academics. But then again, always with every time you have, try to develop yourself in other aspects because I found it to be really, really important.
Okay. Perhaps we'll come back to the importance of that in a very hot minute. So, but I'd like to quickly ask, when you say the way you said academics is like very, very important, has there been any time that you've sort of like lost sight of academics due to the extracurricular things that you were doing, and how that played out and how you were able to deal with it or manage the situation?
Okay, yeah. So in 200 level, that was something I struggled with. And we just came back from COVID break and we stopped having physical lectures. All our lectures were online. And then again, they didn't give us accommodation in school. So I had to stay far away from school during that period. And 10 months break from academics, you are coming back, you have already mentally moved on, you are doing other things, you are excelling in this aspect, and then they just randomly drag you back that okay, come back and continue learning anatomy, read this 4,000 page book and something like that. So sometimes it's very difficult to switch back, especially when you are building momentum in a particular aspect. So for during those first weeks, it was difficult to switch back. And also last year, because I won or I was involved heavily in essay writing, I used to travel a lot. That's for essay awards, um, essay defense, and other things like that. So sometimes you have to take permission from school. You have to stay away. In fact, there was a time that for WIPO, World Intellectual Property Organization, it was almost that I have to miss a particular test and write it next with the next set. So I had to either make that decision or find a way around it. Thankfully, I was able to find a way around it. But it's not always easy because the truth is that your academics might not necessarily care about your extracurriculars at some point in time. And school can be funny sometimes. Sometimes have qualified to represent, or you are qualified for an international opportunity, a 2 weeks or a 3 weeks internship or a 1 month program, and the school won't give you permission or your department won't give you permission. So I'm not going to answer for individuals who and which they should pick, but the truth is that for me there are some opportunities that you cannot miss. Like there are some opportunities that you might not get again. There are others that you can forego them. You can probably explain to them that okay, I have so much academic commitments on my hand right now that I cannot attend this. So you just forgo those opportunities. But there are some that I believe that, especially the potentially life-changing ones, that you might have to possibly, for instance, I know that there's a chess tournament coming next week or in 2 weeks in Lagos. Though it's a 3 day tournament. I have to sign more than usual in the clinic currently, like because I'm rotating through pediatrics, I have to sign more than normal, collect as many signatures as possible, so that
All right. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, you've got to map out your pros and cons, what gives for you and all of that. So yeah, thank you very much for sharing. So we'll be circling back to that importance of extracurriculars that I mentioned earlier. So how important do you really think these things are? I mean, when you look at it, does it if one should decide to, oh, I'm not even going to do all of these things. I just focus on my academics. How much would such a student be missing out on actually? You know, uh, how much does it contribute? How much does it move the needle?
okay, so first I'll start that if a student is like really, really, really focused on academics and doesn't want to do any extracurriculars that might make the person lose track of academics, I would suggest that person takes up extracurriculars that are directly related to academics. For example, research. So research is a very good extracurricular because it's closely related to academics, and there are organizations for that. For instance, here we have FAMSA, and we have, okay, we also, if we are good academically, there are also organizations like ASIDO is a mental health organization, and it is student led. The patron is a professor of psychiatry. So as organizations like this that have backbone in academics, there are organizations that are very good to join, and they won't deviate you from academics. Yeah. So, but essay writing is also something like that. The problem with essay writing is that it's very broad. So you might write an essay today about the Nigerian Constitution. The next one you're writing about Nel Fund. The next one is about something else. So it is very. When I started understanding the importance of extracurriculars, was when I got exposure. That WIPO essay that I spoke earlier about, World International Intellectual Property Organization, shortlisted among the winners were taken on an all expense paid trip to Abuja, flights to and fro. And I just can't put it to words, but the level of exposure I got there, the people I got to meet, I got to realize that the world is bigger than UI, or even in medicine. Like my focus in medicine was so limited, probably on clinical practice, but there's so much more possibility. So I might not be able to say or put the right words, but there is so much exposure that extracurriculars can give you. I mean, you can learn in the clinic about checking blood pressure and this and the likes, but go on a medical outreach. Like that's part of exposure. Like take yourself in or put yourself in organizations that constantly go on medical outreaches, that where you have to talk to these people, where you have to perform these things you have learned in the hospital. Like everything just makes sense, and you gain a level of confidence, you gain a level of exposure to the real world. School is very good, but sometimes if you close yourself to the four walls or to the walls and the gates of the university, you might not be able to get real life experiences of things. And that's why I became more intentional about applying for this boot camp, applying for this thing. If it comes and it's a period that I cannot go for it, it's fine. But if it's something that I can, okay, just 1 week, I escape school for a bit, go and learn something there. For example, things like the bridge program, they are very, very good. They give you leadership experience. In fact, it was when I went for the bridge program, I came back that I realized that all these leadership positions that I am looking down on, I can actually, I can criticize a lot, Abby. Why don't I take up these roles and try to be the change I'm always speaking about? So I would say, in summary, it gives a lot of exposure that cannot be taught within the four walls of a classroom.
All right. I really like how you put it that way. I really like the perspective, even though you said it's difficult to put into words, which I actually agree with. You just have to experience these things for you to totally grasp what they really are. So if you're on this call, you've not really given extracurriculars a chance, or you've not paid so much of attention to it, I hope that's a charge to you to do better and improve on this. So for us to gradually wind down now, so I would like to ask, when you look at the future, how of course, I know these things are not set in stone. Life comes with its own curveballs and circumstances. But right here, where you're standing, when you look at, into the future, do you see a point where all of these things that you do, where they converge, and where you can just make sense of everything, right? Right as you're sitting.
Yes, yes, definitely. So even now, like as the more I grow in each of them, like everything is coming together. Maybe not every single thing coming together at once, but for instance, for the chess, these things, I picked up graphics designing, so I design more using Canva. So for many of our chess events, I don't have to pay a graphic designer. I design on my own. The caption, I write it on my own because I'm good in writing. The videos, we shoot the video content amongst ourselves. So everything is making sense such that I am able to put all these skills together in different aspects. For AGA is one of the organizations, Action Group for Adolescent Health. I currently serve as the general secretary and the publicity director. And the truth is that when I even applied for it, that's not what I picked. But they saw that, okay, you are a good writer. We want you to be our general secretary to take minutes to help us write letters for sponsorship grants and everything. Publicity director, the same thing. You are good at captions, you are good at designs and everything. So the truth is that these skills, I'm already combining them. Now that point where every single thing converges is still very possible, because I mean, like the example I gave of Tune or Nokoya, you might not exactly know how these things will materialize in the future. But one thing I believe is that keep building traction, because just keep building traction to cement yourself that, okay, in this aspect too, this is your go-to guy. If you for instance, in UI, I've known people who just started, they were people who could strike conversations, who could just engage people like that. And currently, they are professional MCs. And it was just from taking this opportunity here. Okay, we have a small birthday celebration. I can anchor it. From there, you get referrals and everything. So you might not be able to make sense of everything currently, but what I would advise everyone to do is to put themselves out there. Is there any skill you are doing? Put yourself out there. Let this person know that okay, this is what I'm doing. Post about yourself regularly. Some people use LinkedIn, some people use X, some people use IG, whichever works for you. Or put yourself out there because you don't exactly know who is watching. I've gotten many referrals from people who I never knew were noticing me in be it in chairs, be it in leadership positions and everything. So when you delve into these things, don't shy away from responsibility even in these things. Put yourself out there. Let everyone know that okay, I am doing this. I am doing this. You don't exactly know where the opportunity will come. But they always say fortune favors the brave and opportunity comes to meet the prepared. So if you are not prepared, the opportunities will come and you might not even notice them or you might not be able to take full advantage of them. So yeah, I see a time when everything will make sense at the end of the day. But the best thing is just be prepared in every aspect and make yourself the best version in every single aspect, every single thing you are doing.
If I get you right, when you say you see a time where everything will come together, this is not like a specific thing, but more like a belief, like a vision, rather than a defined, point of view or plan or destination.
Okay, so first off, I would say that currently I plan on practicing medicine. Yeah. But I'm also seeing the possibility of beyond just practicing the clinical aspect of medicine. Now, I've already spoken about research because it's something I believe that everyone in medicine should actively do. Even if you have not started, it's something you should venture into. Because in a way, that's a very strong way to climb up the ladder. But then again, for instance, let me give the example of Aproko doctor. Yes, he's a medical doctor, but he's not the conventional doctor. Why? Because he has built a very strong following online from doing what other clinicians do in the hospital. And he's even making more than them. Why? He's good at script writing, he's good at content creation. So probably I don't know if he's the one who edits his videos, but when he started, obviously he has some skill in that. So it is looking at what is currently the way the world is currently moving. And that's why I try to pick up as many skills as possible. Writing, I developed my writing. For a long while, I have been into video creation and content creation. And so I am picking up skills. I'm building for something. I have a YouTube channel. I post that because of the quality of videos and everything. But I'm first of all trying to build an online presence, putting myself out there, and again seeing what happens. I have a clear plan in mind, but I understand that different things might happen. So I'm going to venture into the medical field. That's why I said academics is the primary goal, no doubt. But that's leaving room, like you said in your question, leaving room for the possibility of any other thing happening. It's not like I'm going to leave writing. There's research, there is even essay writing. So these are things I plan on continuing. But how I will merge every single thing at the end of the day, I do not yet know. What I'm building myself up for the time that eventually happens or whenever the opportunity presents itself.
All right, all right. Thank you very much for that. So I think I just have like two more questions. So I will I want to lump them together, but I feel like it might make the response longer. So just want to generally look at the role of support along the way, right? So like what roles do you think mentors played in your journey so far, and how critical, how important they were? And also when we also look at the current terrain that we are as a young person, there's the part of AI and all of that. So, how supportive do you think these tools can also be? If you can do that within, like, 3 minutes, so that we can quickly wrap this up.
Okay, so mentors played a huge role. Now, not only just mentors, even my peer support, my circle of friends. For instance, when I started rapping, like surprisingly, I got a lot of positive reviews. The truth that when I go back and listen to myself when I started, I cringe a lot because I'm like in my mind, were these people fooling me or were these people just hyping me up to get me to continue? But that positive reinforcement and saying, okay, you did this very well, or this made sense, but just shoot your video like this instead. This audio, do it like this instead. It helps guide me along the journey because, like I said, for rapping especially, I just entered it into it as like a joke, and I just tried to guide myself through it. Obviously, support from friends, my older brother, and everything. But for essay writing especially, they helped me a lot because I struggled for years before I really understood what it took to win it. And at the end of the day, I'm like, "Ah, why was I struggling for this long, not being able to expertly write essays?" It's because I didn't have any guidance. I was just doing it. I just went into it blind and was navigating my way through. But when I got mentors, when I got people who could coach me and say, this is actually how to write an essay, this is what the judges want, this is how your introduction should be, it really, really helped me a lot. And sometimes the mentor might not even know he's your mentor in some instances. For example, in student leadership, I joined because, like I said, it's you are criticizing your leaders in today's society. Why not put yourself in that position to lead other people intentionally so that you can mirror the kind of leader you want to be in the student environment? And it's something I did intentionally. And I always looked up to those people who were leading such organizations. Then when I joined the legislative house, I couldn't move emotion initially, but I just watched, mirrored people who were doing very well and tried to copy them. And through that, I got better in that aspect. So mentors, you pick the right mentors and try to mirror them, try to do what they do. Obviously, not exactly because you're your own person, but try to pick out the strong positives in what they do and refine yourself in that aspect. So thank you. So that's for that. So for AI is a good tool, but over dependence is a very big problem. So that's what I would say. For research, even for essay writing, using AI to write essays. Now you can use prompt AI to help you with research, to give you some sources, and to you can brainstorm using AI. But lifting AI's ideas are very generic. They don't sound original, to be very honest. And no matter how you prompt an artificial intelligence, it has not yet reached the level where it can replace the depth and context human writing provides. So even beyond essay writing, I would say AI is a very important tool currently. Sometimes I even use it over more frequently than Google. But when it's serious business, I would say it's not good to rely so much on AI. You can use it as an assistance, but not to replace your natural or your hard work or the human aspect of it. So I don't know if there's more context you want me to provide that.
No, no. I think we're good with that. So I think at this point I would like to ask you if there are people who have questions once again. You can either type them in the chat box or indicate by show of hands, and you'll be allowed to unmute yourself. And I was just thinking about it now. I wouldn't know if it's possible. I think it would be nice if Paul can drop, 1 or 2 bars for us on this call before he leaves, some sort of like freestyle for us to close proper for the culture. So, but that's definitely after we've taken, questions if you've got any. So I'm giving you heads up so that I'm already thinking of your anchors and if that. And please excuse the dog that is barking. So any questions? Anyone with a question? Sumishi, Munirat, Philip, Renaho. Anyone with a question for our guest before we call it a wrap? Safe to say there are none, but if there are any, I guess they can still drop while Michael Paul drops his bars that he has for us. I hope you are set for us. So I'm just giving you time to marinate more. For or if you're set, let me know so that you can attend to the question, and then we close with the wrap session.
Uh, okay, sorry, what's the question? Let me check the chat
So
box.
question is, how does one deal with imposter syndrome even as a multi-potentialite? Or did
Okay,
you get that?
yeah, thank you very much. Yes, I got it. So thank you very much. For me, I would say imposter syndrome might come, especially when you're starting out in everything. Every venture you're starting out, you're trying to get really, really good at. You might feel like I'm I'm not really good at this, or I cannot be as good as this person. I'm just deceiving myself and all. The way to deal with it is just to fire ahead. Like put in the effort and fire ahead. You can never overcome it if like there's this cliche saying that your uh, desire for failure. Have you heard this? Say your desire for failure should be more than your fear for success. Wait, what am I saying? Your desire for success should be more than your fear of failure. You get so you should aim like everyone starts off not knowing it all. Like I shared now, I wrote a lot of essays not winning for years. I felt like I can't win essays. But like Mr. Williams pointed out, get a mentor. Mentors are important because they help direct you. What you spend multiple years doing, a mentor will just show you the easy way out. In 2 months, you realize that you have started writing winning entries. So you don't need to spend years to do everything. Again, so look for a mentor in that field, someone excel in that field. If you don't have physical or direct access to the distance, you get so that's a way. And another thing is your conviction. You might be doing something that is so off brand that no one but you actually sees the potential of that stuff. You get, and I like giving the example of today on Okoya. What he did with chess is something that very few people would think about, and there are people doing this in other aspects. So if you are that kind of person, you might daily deal with imposter syndrome. You might feel like you're just wasting your life away while other people are succeeding and doing important or achieving greatness. But if you have a strong conviction, if your why is strong enough, and every day you're able to wake up and say, no, even though I have this self doubt inside, I know, like deep down, I know that this is a good cause. Deep down, I know that I am meant for this, and deep down, I know I can do this. I feel like that's the way to beat imposter syndrome. That's just to wake up every day, even when you don't feel like doing it, to try to get a task done.
That answers your question, Dion. Because all right. I see you reacting already. All right, that's good to know. So MP, I think that's the alter ego that can rap. Got the floor.
Hmm. Mr. Williams put me on the spot. Dr. MP spit bars that are hot. Yeah. You got student heroes doing so much but feeling zero. They put me on the floor. I said, you're the one, but deep inside, I'm asking, have I begun? Everyone's clapping, but the doubt's not done. Feeling like a fraud standing right in the sun. He introduced, but I figured it out. The voice in my head still full of doubts. Multi-talented to say, but everybody knows. Okay, I messed up there. I messed up there, but it will be better next time. It will be better next time. I promise you. It will be
Start
better
it
next time.
again.
Again, guys, a
Thank
freestyle.
you.
I don't know what I said.
I mean, it makes
Uh,
sense. It makes sense. And that's what
to
really
a point. Yeah,
matters.
to a point.
Thank you very much for I'm very
Okay. Thank
sure
you.
our audience will be delighted to have you some other time on Student Supes or any other program that Right Nova will be having. So yeah, thank you very much for your time. I know notifying you, maybe not so short, but I know you must have had to sacrifice a couple of things to make time.
Before we close, I just want to say a big thank you to Writing Over. Funny story, like Mr. Williams is doing this whole student soup stuff, but he's actually a student soup. And for instance, the writing over, I just watching the success. That's from when I was in 100 level, because he was my roommate here. And Paul Adams, who is, I believe, one of the co-founders of Writing Over, was also my roommate. So just seeing them, and a lot of people involved in it, they used to come around. So I used to see them. In fact, Paul Adams was kind of guy who you in the nights when everyone is sleeping, you see him working on his laptop. From 100 level, he was so thin then. Now I see him, he's so fat, plumpy, chopping big money. So he's someone who from afar, even though maybe we don't talk that regularly, whenever I see them, Mr. Williams and Paul Adams as well, I'm inspired because these are people that I had close access to. I was literally there when, maybe not from the very beginning, but I was there when they started. Like I was there when they were hustling, when they were building from scratch, and it's already making sense now. Like even with the Boys Without Border essay contest, I saw about it. They are sponsors and partners of it, so they are doing great things. And little by little, I really look forward to seeing you guys in very very big places. And Hamide also, I met Hamide at the bridge program. She's a very very wonderful person. uh, I'm sure she's doing wonderful. So well done to the entire writing over team for putting this, and long may it continue. Well done.
Student Soup will be back definitely in June. So we want to be doing it every 2 months now. So we'll be back again in June with another fantastic topic. So for you guys that joined the group via the broadcast of the webinar, ensure you stick around. We have other events that we do on a regular basis, quizzes, discussions, educational sessions and all of that that we'll do on the group chat. Recently, we added someone that is meant to provide some insight into like research writing and all of that. So it's a very wonderful community that I feel like you're going to get a lot of value if you stick around, and also invite your friends to join our community as well. So our goal is that we empower students by giving them the tools that will help them succeed in the present world that is very competitive and is very, very fast. So, and as Michael Poe had rightly said, do not forget that AI, they are best used as an assistant, and that is also how we framed our platform, which is Writing Over, where you can get an AI assistant to help you with the stuff that you need to write, be it an article, essay, stories, and what have you. You get like a draft that you can polish and adjust to fit whatever you need to do. You can add the human touch and all of that to it. So yeah, thank you very much for sticking around. See you guys another time. Once again, my name is Williams Away. Have a very pleasant weekend. Bye.